If you are planning to spend like $80,000 on a luxury bathroom remodel this year, statistically speaking, you are about to set $40,000 on fire. And you might not even realize you are doing it until the drywall is already taped.
Yeah, that is the brutal reality of the housing market right now. Homeowners go in expecting an investment, and they come out with a very expensive lesson in structural engineering.
Right, so welcome to this deep dive from the editorial desk at the Renology magazine. I am David Kim, the lead editor on this story, and I am joined today by my co-host, our resident data expert and fellow editor. We spend our days analyzing the construction industry, looking at the raw data, and, talking to the tradesmen who are actually swinging the hammers.
And today we are cutting through the glossy showroom brochures. We're giving you, the homeowner, the exact editorial reality check you need before you start swinging a sledgehammer in your primary suite.
Exactly. And we need to start that reality check right now with some numbers that might, well, make you want to sit down. If you are researching a bathroom remodel in 2026, you cannot rely on pricing models from 5 years ago.
No, you cannot even rely on pricing models from 2 years ago.
Not even close. We pulled the latest numbers, and they are pretty sobering. The National Kitchen and Bath Association just reported that the 2026 median spend for a primary bathroom remodel is now $45,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And for a secondary or guest bath, the median spend sits at $22,000. But here's where it gets really intense. If you look at the 2026 cost versus value report from Remodeling magazine, they note that a mid-range bathroom remodel has a national average cost of $27,167.
Okay, so almost 30 grand for mid-range.
Right. But if you want to bump that up to an upscale project, that number rockets to $83,160.
I mean, whenever we publish those numbers, we get immediate pushback from readers. People look at that upscale figure of over $80,000, and they physically cannot fathom how a room that is roughly, 100 square feet could cost as much as a luxury sports car.
Yeah, it sounds insane on paper. So our mission today is to unpack exactly where those tens of thousands of dollars actually go. We want to decode what your initial contractor quotes are hiding. And most importantly, we want to teach you how to differentiate a $25,000 cosmetic refresh from a $75,000 total gut renovation.
Which is so crucial.
It is, because the biggest trap we see homeowners fall into, the thing that sets their expectations up for total failure, is anchoring their entire budget to the retail prices of materials they see in showrooms.
Oh, for sure. We call this the illusion of retail pricing. A homeowner will walk into a big box store or browse an online catalog. They see a beautiful palette of porcelain floor tile advertised for, say, $500.
Right, which sounds totally reasonable.
Exactly. Then they find a modern, stylish double vanity for $800. They do a little quick math in their head, maybe add another $1,000 for a high-end toilet and some brass slate fixtures, and, well, they think their entire renovation is only going to cost them around $3,000.
Because they are just looking at the raw ingredients.
Precisely. They are completely blind to the reality of labor and project management. In 2026, labor and project management will consume 40 to 50% of your total budget.
Wow, half the budget.
Yeah, labor is the single largest line item in any renovation, and those labor costs are climbing aggressively. Like data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that wages for construction trades have increased by a national median of 4.8% over the past year alone.
But let us break this down for people. Buying a custom tile shower is very much like buying a car. When you buy a car, you are not just paying for the raw steel, the rubber tires, and the glass.
Right, you are paying for the whole process.
Exactly. You are paying for the engineering team that designed the crumple zones, the robotic assembly lines, the crash safety testing, and, the logistics of delivering that vehicle to your local lot. With a bathroom, you are not just paying for a box of ceramic squares, you are paying a premium for what we call the labor multiplier.
Yeah.
Can you explain how the labor multiplier actually works on a job site?
Definitely. The labor multiplier is the foundational concept that proper installation usually costs 1.5 to 3 times the price of the material itself. Let us take your custom tile shower example. You might spend $1,000 on the actual tile. But to get that tile on the wall, a sequence of highly specialized events has to happen.
He's not just gluing it up there.
No, not at all. First, a licensed plumber has to solder the brass shower valve into the wall at the perfect millimeter exact depth. If they are off by half an inch, your handle will not fit. Then, a highly skilled tile setter has to come in and spend days building a sloped, waterproof pan.
And that is a huge deal, getting the water to actually drain.
Exactly. Then they have to layer a specialized waterproof membrane system over the entire shower enclosure. And after that, they have to float the walls.
Okay, let us pause right there. What does it mean to float a wall? I think a lot of people hear that and picture like something levitating in midair.
Yeah, no, floating a wall means applying layers of mortar or joint compound to make sure the wall surface is perfectly flat and vertically straight. We call that being plumb. Wood framing in houses is almost never perfectly straight.
Right, houses settle and shift.
Exactly. If the wall is wavy, your brand new expensive tile is going to look wavy and terrible. So the tile setter spends hours floating the wall to create a perfect canvas. Only then do they meticulously measure, cut, and set each individual tile so the grout lines are flawless.
So that $1,000 of tile rapidly becomes, what, a $4,000 installation process.
Easily. The skill required to ensure hundreds of gallons of water go down the drain instead of leaking through your living room ceiling is immense. You are paying for their expertise, their specialized tools, and their time. And we also have to factor in regional context here.
Oh, for sure.
Geography heavily dictates your baseline costs. Like, homeowners located in major coastal metropolitan areas should expect their project costs to be 20 to 35% higher than homeowners in the Midwest or the South.
Which makes perfect logistical sense. I
Yeah.
mean, the basic cost of living is higher, commercial liability insurance costs way more in dense cities, and the actual day-to-day logistics are a total nightmare.
Oh, yeah, just parking.
Right, just parking a heavy work truck and hauling materials up the service elevator of a high-rise condo adds hours of billable time to the project every single week.
It really all compounds. And once you understand that labor is your biggest expense, you start to realize why certain decisions drain a budget so aggressively. The single most expensive work in any bathroom remodel is the work you never actually see once the project is finished.
That is the perfect transition. Let us talk about the invisible systems, because this is where it gets really interesting and honestly a bit terrifying for your wallet.
Uh-huh.
I want to talk about the danger of layout changes. We hear this all the time from homeowners who just want to, move the toilet to the other side of the room to get better morning light. Why is simply moving a toilet considered such a catastrophic budget decision?
Well, because you're not just sliding a porcelain bowl across the floor. To move a toilet, your contractor has to tear open the subfloor, and often the floor joists themselves.
The structural beams underneath.
Right, floor joists are the massive structural wooden beams that hold up your floor. A toilet requires a massive 3 or 4-inch PVC drain line. You cannot just drill a 4-inch hole straight through the middle on an 8-inch wooden joist, or you will compromise the structural integrity of your entire house.
Yeah, the floor would literally sag or just collapse.
Exactly. So the plumber has to figure out how to navigate that massive pipe around the structural framing. Furthermore, they have to ensure that new drain line has the exact correct slope. Water needs gravity to flow.
Too flat is bad.
Right. If the pipe is too flat, things get clogged. If it is too steep, the water rushes past the solid waste, and again, things get clogged. Simply moving a toilet a few feet costs between $1,500 and $3,500 in plumbing, labor, and materials alone.
And that is literally just to shift the toilet 36 inches to the left.
Yes, just for that. And if you decide to completely change the footprint of the room, like moving the shower to where the vanity was and the vanity to where the tub was, a major layout shift like that can easily add $5,000 to $15,000 to your overall bill.
Wow.
And that money buys you zero visual improvements. It just buys you a new arrangement of invisible pipes hiding in your ceiling.
So what does this all mean for the homeowner staring at a quote? It means you have to account for the hidden 20%. Once demolition begins, once they open up those drywall barriers, well, that is when the expensive surprises happen.
They always happen.
Always. You might find hidden water damage from a slow leak that has been rotting the wood for a decade. You might find termite damage in the studs, or outdated wiring that is a major fire hazard.
And unforeseen issues like those routinely add 15 to 25% to the initial project cost. This is why the National Association of Home Builders strictly recommends holding a 10 to 15% contingency fund, especially for renovations in homes older than 30 years. You have to have that cash sitting in reserve because the house will always hide a secret.
And some of those secrets are actually mandated by the government now. Code updates are something no one budgets for, but everyone is legally required to pay for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The latest International Residential Code, or IRC updates for 2026, have introduced several mandatory compliance costs. For example, any electrical work in a bathroom now often triggers the requirement for arc fault circuit interrupter protection or AFCI at your main breaker panel.
Okay, stop right there. I know what a normal circuit breaker is. It trips when I plug in too many hair dryers at once.
Yeah.
What makes an AFCI breaker different, and why does it cost me extra money?
So a standard breaker trips when there is too much volume of electricity flowing, like your hairdryer example. An AFCI breaker is much smarter. It is looking for the specific electrical signature of a spark or an arc.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if you have an old, degraded wire hiding in your wall that starts sparking, it generates intense heat and causes a fire. The AFCI breaker detects that tiny spark and shuts the power off before the fire starts. It is incredible technology, but upgrading your panel to accommodate it is pretty expensive.
Got it. Is proactive fire prevention.
Hmm.
What else is in the 2026 code?
Well, there are also incredibly specific, stringent new shower waterproofing standards that must be met and inspected by the city. Plus, there are strict requirements for modern anti-scald valve technology in all showers and tubs to prevent severe burns if, say, someone flushes a toilet while you are showering.
So you're significantly upgrading your home safety, which is undeniably great, but it is not free.
Not at all. Achieving compliance with these 2026 code updates can add anywhere from $500 to $1,500 to your project right off the bat. And you cannot skip this if you want the project permitted legally and your insurance to remain valid.
Okay, so you have this knowledge of hidden plumbing costs, labor multipliers, and strict code compliance. Now you have to negotiate with the professionals who will actually do the work. And this is where I want to push back pretty hard on behalf of our listeners.
All right, let us hear it.
When I look at a bid from a general contractor, I see a massive line item for the general contractor fee. It is usually a 15 to 25% margin for overhead and profit. If I am doing an $80,000 upscale remodel, you are telling me I have to pay a guy up to $20,000 just to make a few phone calls and schedule some plumbers. That sounds like a massive ripoff to the average homeowner.
I hear that frustration every single day. I really do. But viewing a general contractor as just a guy making phone calls is a fundamental misunderstanding of their legal and logistical role. That 15 to 25% fee covers their commercial liability insurance.
Which protects the homeowner.
Exactly. That insurance protects your life savings if a subcontractor accidentally solders a pipe poorly and burns your house down. It also covers the comprehensive warranty for the entire project. If the shower tile cracks a year from now, you do not have to hunt down the specific tile guy who might have got out of business. You call the general contractor, and they fix it on their dime.
Right, you are paying for a single point of accountability. You want one throat to choke when things go wrong.
Precisely. You are also paying for them to navigate incredibly complex supply chains. While the overall supply chain nightmare we saw a few years ago has stabilized in 2026, there are still massive bottlenecks. Custom vanitors, for instance, still require a 6 to 10 week lead time.
That is a long time to wait.
It is, and the general contractor manages that sequencing. If the vanity gets delayed by 2 weeks, they have to instantly reschedule the plumber, the electrician, and the painter, so your project does not sit completely idle for a month.
Okay, so if we accept that the fee is necessary for a well-managed, legally protected project, how do we protect ourselves when evaluating these competitive bids? What are the specific questions a homeowner must ask before signing anything?
There are 3 crucial questions every single homeowner must ask to protect their budget. Question number 1, is this quote a fixed price or an estimate?
I feel like people use those terms interchangeably, but legally the distinction is huge.
It is huge. It dictates who holds the financial risk for surprises. An estimate is just an educated guess. If the work takes longer because the contractor is slow, you pay more. A fixed price contract locks in the cost for a specific, defined scope of work. If the contractor is inefficient or makes a mistake, they eat the cost, not you.
That makes total sense.
Question number 2. What specific items are excluded or listed as allowances?
Oh, explain allowances, because that is where the real trap is hidden. An allowance is basically a placeholder number for materials you have not picked out yet.
Exactly. And this is where some shady contractors play games to make their bids look artificially competitive. Buying an allowance for tile is like going to a restaurant where the menu says you have a $10 allowance for steak.
Sounds great until you see the menu.
Right. It sounds great until the waiter explains that $10 only covers a single ounce of ground beef, and the prime ribeye you actually want is going to cost you $50 out of pocket.
That is a great way to put it.
A contractor might give you a bid with a low $10 per square foot allowance for tile. $10 sounds reasonable to a novice, but when you go to the showroom, you realize the beautiful geometric mosaic tile you actually pinned on your mood board costs $25 a square foot. Suddenly, you are thousands of dollars out of pocket over the bid price because the allowance was intentionally unrealistic. You need to know exactly what is excluded so you can compare multiple bids apples to apples.
Okay, now the third question to ask.
Question number 3. How will permitting be handled? Any plumbing or electrical changes require local municipal permits. The contractor needs to explicitly own this process, from filing the initial paperwork to scheduling the final inspection.
And if they don't?
If a contractor asks you to pull the permit yourself as an owner-builder, that is a massive red flag. They are trying to shift the legal liability of the project onto your shoulders so they can walk away if things go wrong.
And you need to know that contractors really have the upper hand in 2026. If we look at the NAHB Remodeling Market Index, which tracks current market conditions and project backlogs, well, the data shows that backlogs are extremely high right now. What does a high backlog mean for the homeowner sitting at the kitchen table trying to negotiate?
It means the best, most reliable remodeling contractors are incredibly busy. They have months of work lined up. When contractors are that busy, they have the leverage to command those 15 to 25% management fees without flinching. They do not need your project to survive.
Right.
That means you need to be prepared to pay their full rate, or you will be waiting a very long time to get on their schedule.
But here is the ultimate irony.
Yeah?
You can hire the perfect contractor, you can buy the perfect tile, and you can get the layout exactly right. But the way you actually pay for the project in 2026 could completely erase any value you add to the home. We need to have a very grounded conversation about your return on investment, how you are paying for this, and how long you're going to be living in a construction zone.
Financing in 2026 presents a highly unique challenge.
It really does. If you are looking to borrow money for this project, the current financial climate is brutal. Home equity lines of credit, commonly known as ALOCs, and construction loan interest rates are currently sitting between 7.5 and 9.5%.
That is steep.
It is. When you are borrowing $50,000 at 9% interest, the lifetime cost of that bathroom skyrockets. You are paying thousands of dollars just for the privilege of borrowing the money. That reality is making cash-funded projects far more appealing right now. However, I should point out that the Inflation Reduction Act does offer some modest federal tax credits if you incorporate high-efficiency items.
Yes, you can get some money back if you install specific Energy Star-rated ventilation fans or heat pump water heaters. Every little bit helps when you're fighting high interest rates. But we also need to deliver the hard truth about property value.
I want to ask you directly about this because homeowners always justify these huge $80,000 budgets by saying they will get it all back when they sell the house. Based on the Remodeling Magazine 2026 Cost versus Value report, what is the actual reality check on return on investment?
The hard truth is that you will not get it all back. The data is very clear, and it always breaks people's hearts. A mid-range bathroom remodel only recoups 60.1% of its cost upon sale.
Ouch.
And it gets mathematically worse the more you spend. An upscale remodel only recoups 49.8%. So if you spend $80,000 on a luxury primary bath, you are effectively setting $40,000 on fire from a pure real estate investment perspective.
Which means we need to reframe how we think about this entirely. A bathroom remodel is a quality of life upgrade for you. It is about waking up every morning and stepping onto a heated floor. It is about taking a shower in a beautiful, well-lit space that does not leak into your kitchen. It is an investment in your daily sanity and happiness. It is not a real estate flipping strategy to get rich quick.
100%. And part of that quality of life calculation is enduring the actual physical construction process. Homeowners consistently underestimate the timeline.
Oh, without fail. I think people watch home improvement shows where a bathroom gets gutted and rebuilt during a commercial break, and they think that is reality. Give us the true timeline. How long does a homeowner have to share their house with a crew of dusty tradesmen?
For a complete gut renovation of an average-sized bathroom, you should expect 4 to 9 weeks of actual on-site construction. And that is after 2 to 6 weeks of pre-construction design work, ordering materials, and waiting for those custom vanity lead times.
9 weeks sounds fast on paper. But think about what 9 weeks actually feels like. That is 9 weeks of having a bright blue porta potty parked on your front lawn. That is 9 weeks of brushing your teeth in your kitchen sink next to the dirty dishes.
Yeah, the day-to-day is rough.
It is. That is 9 weeks of waking up to the sound of reciprocating saws and having 4 strangers track drywall dust through your living room every single morning. The psychological friction is real.
It is deeply exhausting, and you must mandate a 15 to 20% time buffer on top of that schedule for municipal inspection delays. A project can sit totally idle for 3 days, just waiting for the city plumbing inspector to show up and sign off on the rough-in work.
For those who do not know, what exactly is the rough-in work?
The rough-in is the stage where all the pipes, the electrical wires, and the ventilation ducts are installed in the walls, but the drywall has not been put up yet. The inspector needs to see the skeleton of the room to make sure it is safe and up to code. If they find an issue and make your contractor fix it, you lose another entire week of your life.
All right, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. We have looked at the brutal 2026 data, the reality of the labor multiplier, the hidden floor joists, the strict new safety codes, and the ugly truth about ROI. So what is our editorial verdict at the Renology magazine? What is the single biggest takeaway for you, the homeowner, listening to this right now?
The verdict is that you need to start fixating purely on the initial project cost and start evaluating the total cost of ownership over time.
Let us do the long-term math on this. We mentioned the median primary bath is $45,000. If you spend $45,000 on a project that is built correctly by licensed trades with proper waterproofing membranes and perfectly sloped plumbing, that bathroom should last you 20 years. That breaks down to a cost of $2,250 a year for a flawless, beautiful, safe space.
But if you decide to go with the absolute cheapest bid and you hire an unpermitted handyman for $30,000, they're going to cut corners to make a profit. They will use cheap materials, inadequate ventilation fans, and inferior waterproofing techniques in the shower pan.
And when that poorly built shower pan fails in 5 years, rotting out your floor joists and growing toxic black mold inside your walls, you have to tear it all out to the studs and start over. Suddenly, your cheap $30,000 project cost you $6,000 a year, plus the massive cost of the replacement. Our editorial mandate to you is simple. Pay for quality once so you do not have to pay for catastrophic failure later.
It is the only mathematical strategy that truly protects your home and your peace of mind.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a specific assignment. I am giving you homeowner's homework for the week. I challenge you to go stand in your current bathroom. Look at the physical space. Now, I want you to visualize a stunning, modern, breathtaking redesign, but with one massive constraint. You must keep the toilet, the shower drain, and the vanity sink in their exact current locations.
Except the existing structural footprint.
Yes. By forcing yourself to accept the existing footprint, you immediately take thousands of dollars in hidden plumbing and structural framing costs completely off the table. You are not sacrificing beauty, you are sacrificing unnecessary labor. And by doing that, you free up massive room in your budget to invest in the crucial invisible waterproofing and high-quality fixtures that will ensure your beautiful new bathroom lasts a generation.
You focus the budget on longevity instead of logistics?
That is exactly right, because at the end of the day, a beautiful tile job means nothing if the floor underneath it is rotting away. Build the foundation right, respect the unseen systems, and your project will serve you beautifully for decades to come. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.